What's going on, everybody? Gonna end up doing a review today. I didn't trade today. The second day this week that I didn't trade. Just got other things going on, trying to take a day off, cool off and everything. Talked with my mentor a lot about some stuff yesterday. Pretty much for the past, couple of months here, my mindset has been on not losing money. And the only problem with that is I'm only focusing on defense. I haven't really been focusing at all on offense. I haven't been concerned with how much money can I make. I've just been concerned with how much can I not lose. And that has been a problem, and he thinks that that's something that I should be working on. So that's going to be something, for next week. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to want to trade next week or not. I might just end up taking the whole week off, Thanksgiving and everything, and then just to, experiment with using, bigger position sizes, trying to get under a new mindset and everything. And, I'll just keep practicing through Think or Swim and come back. When would that be? The 27th? So I don't know. I might come, hang out and just watch the market really, and maybe paper trade or something like that, but not too sure yet. But as for this week, the numbers are not great. Lost 150 bucks, 4 winners, 7 losers, only 1 winning day. It wasn't really a winning day. It's 37 commission, finishing down 190 really on the week. And 126 of that was due to non-compliance. So, just looking at the trades, it's the NKTR and the PayPal. And then I kind of got lucky with this Cisco trade here. I mean, an $80 loser and a $69 loser. I mean, my winners really weren't. My winners were just non-existent this week. I'm up 50 bucks at one point on one trade, 45 on another. And one thing that I've been thinking about playing with too is, whenever I'm up that 1R and I take a partial, I'm only even taking half. Maybe I should start thinking about taking like 3/4 off of the trade or something, like locking in most of the gains as opposed to, just half and letting it turn back against me. And I think I was talking about that last week too, but I didn't really end up doing anything with that this week. This is my new daily chart. I kind of made it just so I can have like an equity curve kind of thing here. You can see that, my trades are profitable. This week kind of really killed me here, but this is the net, so this is including commissions. I don't know why it's choppy. This one isn't choppy because I got these breaks in here, but for some reason the net is still choppy. I don't know what the difference is. I'll have to play with it later, but I mean, I'm down like 350, 320 here overall since September 19th. Still, yeah, about 2 months, So I've been playing with really small numbers. So I mean, one thing that I need to start doing is I need to find out where I need to be more aggressive, using bigger position sizes. If I see that, my profit target is 20 cents away, I don't want to say, okay, well, I could lose $50 here, so I'm going to use this position size. I want to say, well, I want to make $100 on this trade, so what position size do I need to use to make $100 if this stock reaches this point here? And then, play it from there. Trade management, my psychology and everything's probably going to be much different. I experimented a little bit with it last night through practicing, and it worked out okay. I mean, they're both winners, but they weren't too huge. I really need to find out what's going to happen to me whenever I got this big size on and the stock's running against me. Then how am I going to act and everything? So the goals for this week was to use not just big size, but the correct size. Really trying to be compliant with all my trades. If there's a day where I'm taking 5 or 6 trades, I really need to make sure that it's a good trade. Just take the small loss and re-enter. Later in the day, it should have the 5-minute pattern should have a 1, 2, 3, 4 for the symmetrical triangles. So I have to go through the videos and really see what happens. What the mistakes were, I forced that course trade. It was a very back and forth day. I tried to make myself green. Should have just walked away. Entry on the VWAP bounces were too early. I needed to wait for confirmation. I had to have more of a bounce and break the candles. I didn't cut my losses and rethink the trade. Kind of the same situation where I just take the small loss and re-enter if it resets up. Instead, I held on to it, ensuring that it was going to be a bad loser. Too trigger happy on taking profits. Always a situation where I can hold on for more and see what happens. So, first trade that I took of the week was this TWX. It was a symmetrical. Only took 150 shares. Taking a half size to start and then entering again. So total dollars at risk was 48, and I was trying to get, so I was risking 32 cents, trying to get 38 cents. So it was slightly better than a 1-to-1 there. Compliance was a 1. Ended up being a total $39 loser. So let's see what happens. Pattern looks really good. 20 is coming down on it. The 9 is coming down on it. It has failed to really stay above the 9. Only issue, I guess, is the volume. You know, it's kind of early in the day. It's only 20 minutes into the day, and this thing is barely breaking 50K, but it definitely looks like a really good setup. You know, the way that I would look at this trade is, I took it at 62 and 63, and my risk was 80 cents on it. So I'm risking about 15 cents on this trade. But what I'm not looking at is, okay, I want my profit target to be 45 cents. So if I'm going to get in at 65 here, I'm going to need, if I want this to be a $100 winner, this needs to be a 500 share size to get 20 cents out of it for it to be a $100 winner. So what happened? So it looks like I entered in. So I entered the trade. Immediately turns right against me. Pops up against me really hard, really quick. And then I'm all out. I'm all out really fast. Okay. So trade turned around against me really quickly. I guess it's kind of one of those situations where if I did use 500 shares, you know, what am I gonna do? I'm using 500 shares, that's a $75 loser right there. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing whenever that's happening. But I exited the trade pretty quickly. I mean, it's just kind of resetting again, you know. I mean, I could still re-enter this trade. I don't know what it ended up doing. Looks like much later on. So I entered it on this candle here. It looks like much later in the day it finally made the move. It just took the 50 to come down on it. Probably the 9 EMA on the 5-minute chart's coming down on it too, somewhere around that time. You know, I guess it's just one of those, if I hung in there, and yeah, kinda sorta 200s there too. I mean, just wasn't there for the whole trade, I guess. I took a whole bunch of other stuff, so I mean, I don't know what else there could have been. I did try and get in it again as it got lower. So the next trade that I took was this NKTR. Volume's not spectacular again. I did give it 100 though. I took it long on a falling wedge. My compliance was 11, so I didn't plan it correctly. Now that obviously can mean a lot of different things, but what exactly did I not plan right? I know I wanted to take it at 25. I know it took me a while to get into it. And you can see it's kind of struggling, and then all of a sudden it pops up and it gets me in at 30 here. And pretty much immediately, oh yes, I remember this one. This is the one where I said, I wasn't paying enough attention to the spread because I entered this trade and was immediately down. I mean, it's at 30 and then it's at 19, so I'm immediately down 10 cents on the trade. I'm down 30 bucks already. I mean, I wanted to take it as it broke through the 20, but the only problem was it didn't hold against the 20, and I mean, I ended up bailing out as soon as it closed back below the 9. So I mean, I was in and out of that one pretty fast. Wanted to see what it did a little bit after. So I took it right there, and I mean, it's a good thing I got out because that thing really moved down right after that. I don't know. The 9 EMA might be somewhere. I'm gonna actually find it. Okay, so I found it, and the 9 was right about here. I mean, it definitely looked like not a terrible setup on this one. The only problem with it is now that I'm paying attention to this, this is where the pattern was, and the only way to break out of a wedge is further continuation or consolidation. And what this thing is doing, it's not popping up right here, it's consolidating a little bit, and then we get that little pop, and then it comes and turns right back around. So this isn't really an ideal setup. You know, what you want to see with the wedges is, as soon as it gets out of the wedge, you want to see it move. You don't want to see it kind of being a little choppy in here with the low volume like it's got right now. And then, I just kind of got ticked in, and then that was it. That was all it took for me, and then never really saw profit on the trade, and it just turned straight around against me, being a huge loser. So that was probably a trade that I just should have avoided. I mean, I shouldn't have been in that one at all. Probably like a B quality setup, really. Then I took JD long, definitely a symmetrical triangle. Symmetrical, risking 13 to make 17. Lost $30. I was only profitable $9 on it, so it's another situation where I'm pretty much immediately down. Not a winner much at all. Definitely took it here. I mean, it popped in above the whole number. That didn't really stay though. Probably wanted to get it at 42.20 there. It's really not a bad looking setup here. I can't really tell what the volume is, but it looks pretty high, I guess. Probably somewhere around 50, maybe 100. I mean, we got the 50 coming up on it. It's got all the moving averages cradling underneath it. I don't know if I took a look at the 5 minute. Doesn't look like it did, so entering in as it broke through the whole number. Yeah, again, okay, here's the 5. So I mean the 9's cradling under it. I mean this isn't a bad trade. Okay, here's what the problem is. You got 1, 2, 3. I guess that's a 4. I mean, yeah, no, I would take this trade. This isn't, I don't know. You see it's just kind of bouncing around in there, and then I mean, it doesn't really move higher, it doesn't explode. Not a ton of volume on the breakout. So I mean, already I should be thinking about where I'm getting out on this trade. I mean, it turns around against me super hard there. And here, right here is where I should be thinking, okay, I can exit this trade early, I can replan, I can reevaluate it, see if I still want to be in this trade or not. But, same situation, I'm still holding on to it, only ensuring that it's a big loser instead of just a small loss, and re-entering if it does decide to move or something. I still bailed on the trade. That was right there. I see it. Yeah, turned back against me. Never came back. I never really made a move the entire day. So mistakes made. The NKTR was really just a B quality setup. The wedge consolidated. So the wedge consolidated, it did not break out of the wedge, and I entered in the trade anyway. And kind of the same situation with this JD here. With any of these stocks that I'm entering in the trade, if it has a really nice break, those are the ones that I want to, stay in, and that I'd be fine to let it retest. This never really had a good break. This just kind of popped over the whole number and came right back. And it's those kind of trades that are the ones that I want to be. Those are the ones that I want to exit with a small loser instead of just holding on, making sure that I'm losing $30, and when I could have lost 4 cents on the trade, $15 loser or something. So didn't exit and re-enter. I'm really trying to make sure that whenever I write these mistakes, I want to be as specific as possible again, because whenever I'm just saying like my compliance for 11 is just did not plan correctly, you know, well, what exactly did you not plan correctly? So the mistake on this one was didn't have a good break. Could have just exited with a small loss and reevaluated. Alright, so that was that day. That was a pretty bad day. Definitely mistakes all over the place on that one. I think TWX was probably the only trade that day that, you know, was an okay loser, I guess. Actually, I kind of want to look at it again, just to see. 'Cause, I mean, it definitely looks good. It just kind of pops up on me, you know. Could have re-entered later, but that was the only issue. Only trade that I took this day was Target. I ended up skipping that too. Well, I didn't skip the Tuesday. I just didn't. I woke up, you know, sat on the computer, just didn't see any trades that I wanted to take. So Target, 500 shares. The market was definitely down that day. Was up 24 on it. I think this is one where I took a partial and then it just didn't do anything. Well, just looking at it, you know, the 20's kind of getting underneath it. The view app is holding. 9's coming down on it. Volume is definitely good. Only problem with this one is you got these wicks in here, so I want to make sure that it just doesn't bounce off of these wicks. So I want to make sure that my orders are in right underneath it, because if it does bounce off it and I'm in a trade, then I'm not going to be very profitable on it. Just seeing. So I'm entering a trade with half R for 150 shares. Well, maybe I only got a half size to start. No, dollars at risk, 40 bucks. So this is full size. So something happens here. Just comes later in the day. And this is good. This is what I like to see, you know, where it kind of just starts bouncing around in there, and it's like my mentor said, it's gaining power, so it's getting ready to explode. So once this 50 comes down on it, you know, the only problems are these wicks that I'm thinking about. You know, it could break this whole number and then just decide, you know, well, if there's too much support underneath where the stuff is at. It's not a bad looking trade though. I mean, it's got everything I need. So then we start moving down a little bit, bouncing off of the whole number, just kind of like I thought. And then we get a really nice break. So let's see. So I'm in at 93, which was my limit on that trade. So I saw clip 99, and then, you know, it moves straight down to 89.92, and then I'm full size at 93, and this thing comes right back to 95 and the whole number again. So I mean, to start the trade off, I already didn't get a really good entry, and it's already bouncing. It's kind of struggling where that 85 was at there. So this thing makes a really nice move down, getting down into the 70s even. So I'm at 80, which was originally where my 1-to-1 was at, because I was risking 27 cents on it. I mean, I didn't have to risk 27 cents, so it was 55.20. So I was talking about VWAP on this one. I could have made my risk a lot tighter on this one. This is another trade where I could have gone 500 shares and I'm up 100 bucks right here, you know. Take my money and get out, and that's all I need. And I did take half. I took half at 80. So I mean, you know, using bigger size, I mean, that's it. That's all I need right there. It's right where I want it to be. So I mean, this is definitely one of those big winners that I had that could have been a lot bigger if I was using the right size. And then that happens. And my mentor was talking to me about this too. And whenever these big spikes, because I know there's another guy that I watch, Mir Barak, that always says the same thing. Whenever you see these big candle spikes like that, you know, there's not even that much volume on it. Whenever you see that, that's just like a, I'm not gonna say it's an accident, but it's a situation where there's usually it's like an over exaggeration. There's not a real move in this. This is just kind of like it's just a pop, and then it usually comes right back down just like it did. But I mean, I had my my stop, you know, right at break even. So I mean, I know well, I guess it wasn't break even, because break even would have been 93, but I put it at 55 anyway for whatever reason. So I ended up giving back, what, 7 cents? So I mean, maybe 14 bucks. So I mean, I was only up $4 on the trade, and probably commissions covered that. So I mean, this thing came right back down, you know. Bounced off of the 50, which is probably what my original risk should have been, because this 9 and the 50 at the same time were right there. I mean, this was that could have been a really big winner. I mean, that's a $100 winner right there. I mean, you can see it. No, even on the 5s, yeah, it just never turned back. Came right down to the 50s, which even before I was looking at this video, all the way back. Where is it? I know I pulled it up. All the way back here, just looking at it, you can see that, you know, this looks like a really good setup on the 5s. You know, the 9's coming down on it. This thing could hit 54.50. So, I mean, if I was trading this on the 5s and, you know, not worrying so much about the 1s, and especially on that pullback, I had my stop order in, but maybe I shouldn't have even had that. Because any big move like that, you know, you can just, I don't know, I would always bet that it's going to come pulling back right against that, because it's still got all of that resistance overhead, you know, it's just touching the 50 and it's coming back. So that was just something that I probably should have held on to a little bit, but, you know, you come back and you look at it and you learn from it. So what was the mistake on that? Didn't use the right size again. I'm too risk averse. I was too risk averse on this one. What else? Had I guess I don't want to say too fast of a pullback. Exited on a retest. So exited on a retest, target pulled back hard, could have held through the pullback and the retests, and it made a much bigger move down. Just kind of really missing out. And then this day. So first trade that I took was Cisco, a bull flag break up, risking 23 to make 27, so basically a 1-to-1. I liked it for an opening range breakout. You can see it kind of had a really nice strong move up. came back, retested VWAP, doesn't like it, wants to move higher. I wanted to take it over the highs, just kind of ended up pulling back again, but it set up another nice move here. So I'm long 400 shares, and at this point I'm thinking, you know, do I want to add into this trade? Because we are 13 minutes into the day. The 5-minute candles probably aren't the nicest looking, but I mean, I could have added into it, been a pretty decent winner. That's the weekly. That's a pretty good trade. I mean, it got up into the 60s and then just pulled back against me there. Ended up covering the rest fairly low as it pulled back. I mean, I was up like 50 something dollars on the trade at one point. Yeah, 51, 52. I don't know, just another situation where I could have been a little more aggressive and, you know, added into it, because this trend line's holding this whole time, and then you got the 9 coming up on it. Looks good for an opening range breakout. I mean, that's, you know, all the signs were kind of aligning. You know, just staring at the SPY here. It's just because the tech sector. I mean, the tech's up today, bigger than any of the other spiders, and that's just, I don't know. That was another situation where I could have been more aggressive. Could have been more aggressive and added into it. What was my risk actually? Risk was 25 cents. 25 is a ways away. I don't know, maybe it's not that far away. The volume still looks good. I mean, it could have pulled back and, you know, touched it and retested the VWAP and whatnot, but I don't know, maybe my position size wasn't that bad on that one. The only thing I just could have added. That was probably about it. Okay, PayPal was a mistake because, I mean, it looks pretty good on the ones for a breakdown. So I shorted 500 shares as it broke down there. Short 500, risk of 65, trying to get, so it's a 1-to-1. I mean, got all this here. Looks like we're finally starting to make a move down. Volume is not fantastic. That will always be an issue. And I mean, the thing, it breaks under, and then I don't know what I was thinking. This was one of the trades where, you know, it's kind of, you know, you get the huge wick to start the day. It's coming on an VWAP. It comes up again above VWAP, gets really rejected hard, closes below it again, and then it can't stay above the VWAP. So, but we got the 9 5-minute coming up on it, and I was thinking there's been some trades that I've taken where it's been pretty much this exact same scenario, and you know, it just doesn't care about the 9-minute 5 EMA or the 5-minute 9 EMA, and it'll break down right through it, and it'll just never turn back, and then, you know, it just kind of fights against the trend, and that's really what I did today. Even if it does do that in some cases, the 9 coming up on it like that for the first time is gonna be an issue for the stock to try and break through. And I mean, you can see it bounced off of it in that one section there, and then it just kind of got pulled back really hard as soon as it, you know, broke through it the first time. And then I was thinking, I really went against the odds on this one. It's a trade that I shouldn't have taken. I mean, the volume is even terrible, and it's just, PayPal was just all around a very bad trade. Definitely should have been one that I just wasn't even in for a second. And then the really strange one was this Cisco trade here, which was another trade that I probably shouldn't have taken, but got kind of lucky on it, because the 5 minutes looks pretty good. You know, it's kind of slowly creeping down on it. You know, the 20 got over the top, and then the 9's really coming down on it. The only problem, the thing that I noticed, I mean, after I'd been in this trade for half an hour, I noticed that the 10-minute 9 EMA was coming up on it, and that's why it took so long for this thing to really make a good move down. And I mean, I kept rethinking and reevaluating everything throughout this trade. I mean, I had plenty of opportunities to just, I think the lowest it got was like 4 cents or something. The level 2 looked really good at one point though, because I know it kept creeping down and down like this. I think it was on this move here. See if I can get to it. So you can see it's kind of really getting stuck here, and I kept thinking, maybe I want to add into this, and this is one that I should have added in, and there's a reason why. Because as soon as each one of these numbers breaks, the sellers are still there in huge amounts. We move down and they're still huge, and they're still huge, still moving down, still big numbers. And I mean, I could have added, and right about here is where my I think my ultimate profit target was 05, yeah. So I mean, I got there. I could have added, I could have maybe even doubled my size or something, and then, just on any pullback at all, I just could have cut it and said, if the sellers are finally gone, then there's no reason for me to have this huge size anymore. But I mean, that could have been, I could have had 1,000 shares on this one. Every penny is a $10, and I mean, I could have made some serious profit on that one. It just kind of pulls back and everything, and still only half size. I want to give it that chance to let it keep moving, and then I finally get out at break even. I mean, I had this, and this is the same situation as that target trade. It's just got these huge pullbacks like this one here, and then I'm out of the trade totally. I don't know what it ended up doing later in the day. So I was in this one. I got out there. It's still kind of, maybe. I don't know what I did later in the day. Let's see if I can find it. Just looking at CSCO. So it was right. Is that it? It's the 9th, wasn't the 10th. It was the 15th. Oh, that was yesterday. That was the 16th. Oops. Okay, here we go. So yeah, this thing ended up going down to about the whole number. Okay, it did pull back. Yeah, it pulled back after that one. So yeah, maybe I did make the right call. Yeah, that's it right there, and then it just really starts squeezing up there. So yeah, I mean, I got what I could out of it. Always opportunity to make more, but what are you gonna do, I guess. So for the goals, so overall the mistakes I made, wedge consolidated, it didn't break, and I entered in the trade anyway after it really didn't have a lot of strength to it. I didn't exit a trade and reevaluate. The trade didn't have a good break, turned right around against me. I could have exited close to break even with a small loss and reevaluated the trade. Did not, ended up taking a decent sized loser anyway. I was being too risk averse on that target trade. Definitely could have used a bigger size. Would have had no problems at all on that one. Exit on a retest, target pulled back hard, could have held through it, and it made a bigger move right down. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but just, whenever it pulls back really hard like that and it has a really big move, almost kind of something like this, it happens within 1 minute. Those are usually just, my mentor was saying it's like somebody maybe like accidentally bought too much or something, bought when they meant to sell or something like that. And I mean, the overall trend was still down, and it didn't have any like significant meaning to that move. It was more just noise. Could have been more aggressive and added into the Cisco trade. PayPal was just overall a very bad trade. It had horrible volume. Then I'm in at 5 EMA, shorted right into it. Just not a high probability setup. Goals are to use a bigger size. How much do you want to make on this trade, not how much am I willing to lose. So it's kind of really just getting a whole new different mindset under everything and seeing what I can do with it. So that's really all that I got for now. Not sure if I'm going to be back on Monday or not. I guess we will just have to see. So definitely looking forward to, you know, going through practicing and everything and seeing what else I can make better and what's new, what's going to be different, how I'm going to handle, how my psychology is going to be a little different. So should be a good time. See what happens. And thanks for watching, and I'll be back later.